It's very fair to say that the fans of the NBA are a very important part of the game, which we're learning right now via the NBA bubble, where fans can only show their support virtually, not in the game itself. But we're making do, as are the NBA players. But while the support of the fans can be invaluable, at times they go way too far, and sometimes they cross lines that should never be crossed. So allow us to show you 5 times NBA fans went too far. Number 5. The racial slur against Russell Westbrook.
In the stands told me to get down on my knees like he used to. And for me, that's just completely disrespectful.
Russell Westbrook is without a doubt one of the best players in the NBA today. Not just because of his skills, but his drive to try and push things to the next level. However, he's just as infamous for getting in the faces of players as well as fans at times and jawing at them. But to be fair, that's okay as long as he himself doesn't cross the line. During a game against the Utah Jazz, he was caught on video jawing against some fans and saying he was going to F them up. At first, this looked like a classic Westbrook moment. But when Russell was asked about it afterwards, he noted that a husband and wife in the crowd next to him said that he should get down on his knees like he used to. That's a slur about slavery, which is not only wrong, it's racist. So can you understand why he got so mad? That's not something anyone to this day and age should hear, let alone something people should say. 2020 has proven that racial equality is not what it should be. This shows that it's not a recent issue like some would attest. The fans who made those comments were banned from the arena permanently after an investigation proved they did what Westbrook said they did. Number 4. Kristaps Porzingis.
And forward at 7-3 from Latvia. Number 6, Kristaps Porzingis.
Kristaps Porzingis is a player who has had a rocky NBA career, to say the least. His career with the New York Knicks started out promising, but then got very turbulent as he argued with management. Thankfully for him, he would eventually be brought to the Dallas Mavericks, where he now teams with future megastar Luka Doncic, who is lighting up the NBA playoffs currently. When he had his return game to the Knicks, the crowd booed him very loudly. But what made it so that they crossed the line was that they continued to boo him every single time that he touched the ball. Every single time. That's rather unfair to Porzingis because he did give everything he had to the Knicks for those first 2 years of his NBA career. He didn't quit on them, he had many disagreements with management, and he took his talents elsewhere. It's okay to boo him once, but every time on the court? Really? This is part of the reason why the Knicks are known as petty. Number 3. Joakim Noah.
The Eastern semifinals, another enthusiastic Heat fan is making the internet rounds for giving Noah the one-finger salute.
Joakim Noah has been a role player for many NBA teams, including being an important part of the Chicago Bulls during the Derrick Rose years. But honestly, he loves to trash talk. It's part of his arsenal that he uses very well. As such, during one contest with the Miami Heat in the playoffs, Noah started doing his trash talk when even eventually he got ejected from the game. But what makes this an entry on the list was that as Noah was going to the locker room, a woman reached out from her place in the stands and gave him the middle finger that was almost literally touching him. Naturally, the picture went viral and became a meme. Because why wouldn't it? It's a perfect moment. The irony, though, is that the woman wasn't even supposed to be there. Got lucky, and that's how she made her mark. Timing is everything. Number 2, Malice in the Palace.
Look once, and I'm going to tell you when. It was the Malice
at
the Palace.
The Malice in the Palace is one of the most infamous moments in NBA history. And yeah, the fans were part of the reason for that. It happened in 2004 when players on the Detroit Pistons and the Indianapolis Pacers got into a fight that cleared the benches. But then, a fan threw a drink at player Ron Artest, and Artest reacted by going up into the stands and fighting with the fans, which prompted even more violence after that. It was not a good scene. Now, to be fair, this wasn't the fans' fault to start, but throwing a drink at a player is a line you never cross. They're there to play the ball and entertain you. You can cuss them out within reason, but to throw objects, not cool. Those fans were punished alongside the players in the fight, and this stain on the NBA lingers to this day. Number 1, LeBron James.
I've worn 6 in practice for a long time. Trying to figure out a lot of you guys just not recognizing who I am, huh?
Oh, you thought King James wouldn't be on this list? Well, you're wrong, because he almost literally caused a riot with a single sentence. LeBron obviously started his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers, who at the time were horrible, and James was there to fix it. To his credit, he did, to an extent. There were threats in the East almost every year and got the team to the finals once. But after years of frustration and being unable to get past the dominant Boston Celtics multiple years in a row, King James decided it was time for a change. So thus, after aligning all the chips he needed to the right spot, LeBron James and ESPN made the decision. The decision that he would make would be to take my talents to South Beach and play for the Miami Heat. Whether you loved it or hated it, it was a wise basketball move. Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh were waiting for him in Miami, and with that team headed up in the front office by legend Pat Riley, he knew he could win championships. 2, in fact. He went to the NBA Finals 4 straight times with them. So where do the fans come in to take this too far? You see, they know there was a good chance that LeBron would leave, but they were hoping beyond hope that LeBron would love his home of Cleveland so much that he would stay. He didn't. On that first night, they literally rioted in the streets. They went and burned down LeBron James jerseys. They destroyed murals that were made in his honor for doing so good with the Cavaliers and more. Needless to say, they had feelings about what was going on. Then when he finally returned to Cleveland in the next season, they not only booed him, they not only brought signs saying he was a traitor, they were literally throwing things at him and the other members of the Heat, including, but not limited to, batteries, which, as we noted earlier, is rather uncalled for. Of course, those who know NBA history know the irony of this statement. He came back to Cleveland, won them a title, and took them to multiple finals before leaving for the Lakers. So they rioted in the streets one time and were parading in it the next. That's the power of sports. There you go, a look at when NBA fans really did take things too far. Which of these moments do you remember the most? Which one do you think could be swapped out with other moments? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.